Hey guys, in this video we are going to talk about important interview questions. Okay, so watch this video till the very end, else you will not understand the important interview questions. If you don't watch this video, then it is your fault that you won't understand any of these things that I am going to speak about in this video. I have 6+ years experience as a quality assurance engineer, and I have worked in multiple companies, so I know what I'm talking about. And watch this video till the very end, else you will not understand anything. So the first question is, tell me about yourself. So everyone will ask you about this question. Okay, so you cannot skip this question. So you should speak at least 2 to 3 minutes about yourself. Okay, you should speak about 2 to 3 minutes about yourself. So what are you going to speak in this tell me about yourself question? First you will mention all the work experience. Okay, so you have to mention all the relevant things, no irrelevant things you should say. So irrelevant things means about the marriage, are you single or are you committed, all those things is not required. These are time waste. And what are the relevant things? Your degree, your work experience. Okay, so you should speak about all these things. Your projects, you should speak about all these things very clearly. Okay, so I will give you an example, like what I said. If I am asked this question, I say that myself, Pratik Bhomik, I have 6+ years experience as a quality assurance engineer. I have worked across very multiple product based and service based companies. I have worked across UI automation, API automation, UI testing, API testing, manual testing, automated testing, mobile app testing, and I have used tools like Cypress, Selenium, Playwright. I also can work with programming languages such as Java, JavaScript. I also know database such as MySQL. Okay, so you can speak about your hobby. Okay, so you should very well know that when people will ask you this question, they want to hear your story. So tell your story in an interesting manner. Okay, no irrelevant things you should say. Okay, so you should mention about the tools you are working. People will this is like a people will capture the points that you say in this answer, and they will ask you the follow-up questions. Okay, so be very careful what you speak. Okay, so for example, I am asking you this question, tell me about yourself, and you are speaking, you are answering that I know Java. So I will ask you questions related to Java programming language. Okay, so be careful what you are answering, because if you are answering any wrong thing, then you will be stuck by yourself. Okay, if you are lying to the interviewer will ask you the questions and you will be caught. Okay, so this is the thing, you should answer this question in a very careful manner. Don't speak any lie and don't speak any irrelevant things, you will be caught by yourself. If I ask you, if you tell me that you know Java and I ask you questions related to Java, then and you are not able to answer the questions, then I won't be satisfied with your answer, right? And you will be rejected. This is as simple as that. There is no rocket science in this. So that's all about this question. You should answer this question in a very careful way. And the next question is, what is your day-to-day activity as a QA engineer? Okay, this is one of the most important questions. If you are joining as a QA engineer, they will definitely ask you these questions. If you are experienced, this question they will definitely ask. But if you are not experienced, this question they will not ask. So, as a day-to-day activity as a quality assurance engineer, we attend daily stand-up meetings. Okay, we attend daily stand-up meetings. So if you don't understand what is stand-up meeting, I will make a separate video on this, then you will understand. But as I have experience, I know that daily stand-up meetings are happening. But if you are a fresher, you won't know what is stand-up meetings. Then we start our task. And our task is related with tools and technologies, right? Tools. What tools do I use? Google Sheets, then Jira, ClickUp, right? Slack. These are the different tools that we use for project management. Okay. Project management. So using Google Sheets, we draft our test cases. Okay, Google Sheet, draft test cases, test plan, etc. we write in Google Sheets. Then using Jira or any bug tracking tool such as ClickUp or Slack, we write the bug reports. Okay, so this is all about the tools and technologies. Okay, so the day-to-day task include writing test cases, finding bugs and reporting bugs. Okay, then writing automated tests. Okay, so listen very carefully the things that I am speaking about. I am speaking all these things from experience, and if you don't focus on these things currently, then you won't be able to answer this type of questions in the interview and you will be rejected. Okay, writing automated tests, testing various user flows end to end. Okay, so this is a day-to-day activity of the QA engineer. Then there are some other points as well, such as collaborating with PM and dev. Okay, so we have to communicate and collaborate with the PM and developers. Okay, so these are the day-to-day tasks of a QA engineer. I hope this question is clear. Check the tasks for the sprint. Check the backlog tasks. Pick the priority task and work on that. Okay, so you should say like this. The next question is, what's the difference between retesting and regression testing? This is one of the favorite question for the QA engineering interview. Okay, so when interviewer asks this question, don't be confused. This is a very easy interview question and you should be able to answer this question in a nice manner. But for answering these questions, you have to know the concept of retesting and regression testing. Okay, so I am going to explain about this retesting and regression testing in this video. So what is regression testing? So suppose, for example, take on application that we people use on a day-to-day basis, such as YouTube. Such as in YouTube there is sign up flow, login flow, right? So suppose there is a bug in the login flow, user is not able to log in. Okay, so let me just write it over here. YouTube login flow issue. So what does the Q engineer do? What is the Q engineer's responsibility? Q engineer responsibility is to report the bug. Report the bug to the developer. So once you report the bug, developer will fix the bug. Dev will fix and assign it back to you. Okay, so once developer assigns this bug back to you, then you have to retest it. You have to QA engineer will retest the bug and close it, else reopen it if it's not fixed. Okay, this is the flow that is going on. Okay, so once you are done retesting, you should assign it back to the developer. Okay, and it should be closed. And what happens next is that once you close it, you have to this is the important part, guys, so listen very carefully. Once the bug is closed, you have to do regression testing. Regression testing means you have to check the sign up flow, login flow, then log out flow you have to check. Then you have to check if you are able to upload videos, if you are able to edit videos. All these flows you have to check. Why? Because this is regression testing, because you have to do regression testing. So if something is broken somewhere, for example login flow is broken, then you have to raise the bug, you have to fix the bug, and you have to check the flows for the other modules as well. This is the core responsibility of the QA engineer. Okay, so I hope you have understood the difference between the retesting and regression testing. So I will repeat again, what is retesting? Retesting is when there is a issue found in the application module you are assigning to the developer is fixing it and assigning it back to you, and you are closing it after retesting. Okay, so the terminology itself says the clear picture. What is the terminology? It is retesting. So if you know English well, then you should be able to understand what is retesting. The terminology has the answer. And the terminology regression testing is, what does it mean? Regression testing. So it means regress. Regress means everything. Okay, so you have to test everything from A to Z to check why you should do regression testing. Okay, so the question now arises, why should a person does regression testing? So the answer is that once the developer fixes any bug in any module, okay, in our case it is login module. If the developer fixes the bug in the login module, then there is a chance that the software will break in some other areas as well. Once the developer fixes the bug and deploys the changes, right, and pushes the changes and deploys it, so there is a chance that the system breaks in some other place in the software application. That is the sole purpose of doing the regression testing. I hope you have understood the difference between retesting and regression testing. If you have any doubts, please comment down below. I will be happy to answer your queries. Else you can just move backward and listen what I have told. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the next question. So the next question is, what's the difference between the smoke testing and sanity testing? So this is another important question for the QA interview. So as the terminology says, smoke testing, that means smoke. Whenever you are for example you have for example the electrician in your home is fixing a wire and the smoke is coming out of the wire. Okay, that means there is some bug. Okay, that means there is some bug in the wire and the electrician has to fix it, solve the problem. Okay, so similarly in the software applications, people do the smoke testing. That is when the module, as for example in an application that is YouTube, there are various modules such as sign up module, login module, logout module, then video upload module, and lot of other modules are there. So when the developer builds any module, okay, the developer develops any module, first of all you have to do the smoke testing. Okay, smoke testing means you have to check the login flow. Then in the login flow you have to check with valid and invalid credentials. Then in the sign up flow you have to check with valid and invalid credentials. Then in the logout flow you have to check the logout flow functionality is working fine or not. These are some of the core flows. Okay, so the software users cannot use the application without all these flows, right? I hope you are getting my point. So you have to check all the core flows in the application. If they are not working fine, then you have to stop the testing. If they are working, then it's fine. But if these core flows are not working, then you have to stop the testing. You have to assign the bugs to the developer to fix it. Then you should move ahead with the further testing. I hope the smoke testing concept will be clear to you. Okay, and what is sanity testing? So sanity testing is nothing but it comes after the smoke testing. Okay, so suppose for example all the flows are working fine, that is login, sign up, logout flows are working fine, then you should go deep in the testing. You should check many more things in the testing, and that is known as sanity testing. So I'll just write for you, smoke testing means testing the and sanity testing means I hope the difference is clear. If you are not clear, then feel free to check in the internet. There are a lot of definitions given in the internet. You can search and get it. Smoke testing means testing the critical flows in the app, if they are working fine or not. And sanity testing means testing the feature in depth. After smoke testing is completed. So sanity testing comes after smoke testing. Okay, smoke testing comes before sanity testing. You should remember this. I hope that the things are pretty clear to you. If you have any queries or doubts, feel free to comment what is your query or the doubt. I will be happy to answer your queries and solve your doubts. Now let's move on to the next question, that is, what's the difference between test plan and test cases? This is another important question. Okay, this is another important question that is asked by the interviewer. So test cases and test plans are document. Okay, first of all you should understand that test cases and test plan are some documents. Okay, so why you should learn about test plan and test cases? Okay, so if somebody gives you some application to test, okay, for example, suppose I give you the YouTube application that you have to test, what will you do? You need to document something, right? You have to document and show the report to me that what you have tested, right? If you are not able to show some report to me, then why someone will trust your testing? That is the thing. That's why you need test cases. And what is test plan? Test plan is that test plan is something that it's a high level document. Okay, it's a high level document for high level document what is going to be tested. Okay, so I hope that this point is pretty clear to you. So test cases have different types of so the interviewer might ask follow-up question to you that how will you write the test cases, what are the things that you will include in the test cases, and what are the things that you are going to include in the test plan. So you have to prepare your answer. And so now we are going to discuss about what is SDLC and STLC. So this is one of the most important interview questions that people will definitely ask you if you are attending the interview. So SDLC and STLC is nothing but software development life cycle and software testing life cycle. So software development life cycle has multiple phases, that is planning, design, coding, implementation, testing and maintenance. So these are some of the phases. These are some of the phases in SDLC. Okay, so let's check in the Google. I'm not sure about that. So as you can see here, planning, analysis, design, coding, testing, deployment, maintenance. Planning, analysis. So I have missed some of the phases. That is analysis, planning, analysis, design, coding, testing, deployment. Okay. Testing, deployment and maintenance. Okay, so these are the phases of SDLC, and for STLC there are multiple phases. That is open, requirement analysis, test planning, test case, then test environment setup, then test execution, close. Okay, so this is the difference between SDLC and STLC. Okay, so you should keep in mind and remember these stages in both of the SDLC and STLC cycle. This is very important, and a lot of people will ask you this question for sure. So please take a screenshot or take a note of this. I hope this will be helpful. Now let's move on to the next question, that is, what is agile project management? Okay, so agile is a project management system. Okay, so this is one of the most important interview questions, and you have to know how to answer this question in a proper way so that the interviewer get impressed. So okay, you don't need to speak by mugging up things and by hearting the definition. You have to understand it properly, then you have to explain it. So let's Google it. What is agile? Okay, so let's talk about it. So agile is a iterative, flexible approach to delivering project. So I hope that you are understanding the statement. It is an iterative. Iterative means it is a repeated process. It is a flexible approach to delivering projects, focusing on continuous improvement. collaboration and rapid incremental releases. So in lot of companies in modern days, that is the SaaS companies, this is the mandatory agile project management is going on everywhere. So basically, the companies release the software versions and want to receive the feedbacks. Okay, so the software versions they release and they receive the feedback on a continuous basis from the clients or the customers. That is agile project management. On the basis of the feedbacks, they improvise the software product. So key aspects of agile project management is iterative development, flexibility of change management, collaboration and customer centric. Okay, so there are 5 phases of life cycle, agile life cycle. Okay, so I hope that this video will give you a lot of value, and if you have found the value out of this video, consider watching other videos as well. I have created interview questions video before as well. Go and check that video and you won't regret, and you will find a lot of value on that video. And if you have any doubts, comment down what are the doubts and I will answer all your doubts. And if you are finding value, then hit the subscribe button and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.